That's not going to change. We're going to not lose sight, in fact, who we are as Americans.
Gabe is joining us again from the White House. And Gabe, President Biden is making changes to his plans this week after that attempted assassination against former President Trump.
Yeah, that's right, Hallie. The president had been scheduled to head to Austin, Texas tomorrow to speak at the LBJ Library commemorating the 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act. That trip has now been postponed. His interview with our colleague Lester Holt will happen, but here at the White House. And as for the vice president, her campaign stop to Florida on Tuesday has also been rescheduled. Hallie?
Gabe, thank you. And we will, of course, have more special coverage tomorrow night with that interview between Lester and President Biden. Let's take it back now to Tom, who's in Butler for us tonight.
We resolve our differences at the battle box.
Joining me now, NBC News White House correspondent Mike Memoli and NBC News congressional correspondent Julie Sirkin. Julie, I'm going to start with you since we just talked to Mike Lawler, and there have been all these various calls for investigations, for change. As we heard from the congressman, more Secret Service protection for the presidential candidates. Talk about what you're hearing from members on the Hill and whether they think they'll be able to accomplish some things here, both in terms of an investigation and taking a look at what might be needed in the very short term.
Well, that's really the role of Congress here, Chris. And as Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, said today, they will need to take time and wait for law enforcement to complete an investigation before Congress can step into any kind of real oversight role here. I was told all throughout the day today that individual members in leadership on significant committees have been in touch with the head of Secret Service, with the head of the FBI, with the head of the Department of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, as well. We could potentially, the public being, see a hearing in the Oversight Committee in the House, led by Republican Chair James Comer, as soon as next Monday, about 8 days from now. He wants to call in all of those agencies to find out exactly what transpired, how that assassination attempt of former Donald Trump was possible, former President Donald Trump was possible. But in my conversations in the last couple of hours with Democrats, they are really looking at this moment, as you heard Mike Lawler there say on the Republican side of the aisle, as a moment of transformation, that perhaps the rhetoric could be cooled down. But this is a Congress that has been part and privy to January 6th, to increased rhetoric, to increased political violence. We know that security on Capitol Hill is heightened in light of this attempt on the former president's life last night. We know that members, though they are not here in town, they are on recess, are going to be getting briefed virtually tomorrow from the Sergeant at Arms, from the head of Capitol Police as well. And so this is really top of mind for Republicans, for Democrats, for lawmakers who, as you heard so many of them today say, it is time to cool down the rhetoric. It is time to turn the page. But unfortunately, some Democrats also tell me that they don't believe that's going to happen. They think this is only the beginning. And certainly, as we just 27 hours ago were talking potentially about more Democrats coming out, calling on President Biden to exit the race. You're dealing with that situation, but also now dealing with the fallout of this assassination attempt and everything that comes with it in the Capitol here, Chris.
And Mike, that skepticism, that I think a lot of people feel when they hear things like unity, lowering the temperature, stopping the attacks. A reality check, if I might. What was President Biden and his team's realistic objective going into the speech tonight?
Well, as one person close to the president would put it, it's to get the president back to home base. This is a theme, what we heard tonight, the president calling for lowering the political temperature in this country, for seeing our neighbors as just that, neighbors, not political rivals or enemies even. Goes back to what was a major theme of his 2020 campaign. It was a part of the victory speech he gave days after the election when we finally called the election. And it was also a major theme of his State of the Union address. Now, what have we seen during his 3.5 years in office? He's had to advance a policy agenda that at times was very difficult, that had him even at odds with his own party. He's dealing with major foreign crises. He's dealing with the aftermath of the January 6th attack on the Capitol, which really did change the way that lawmakers looked at one another. And even just in the last 48 hours, we saw President Biden making some of the starkest comments he's made to date about Donald Trump, his political opponent. But now there is this moment that the White House sees an opportunity for the president to bring back his role as a unifier. Is an important one in the week ahead.
Mike Memoli and Julie Sirkin, thanks to both of you for your reporting throughout these last 24 hours. For every moment that shakes us, there